It's my friend Bev, and also somebody in the church I'm in who's a real encouragement and pushes us forward a lot. I wanted, after I'd done that talk, I wanted to ask somebody who I guess the world would look at and thinks pretty good, really. I wanted to ask somebody who the world thinks pretty good why they need Jesus. Because it's all very well saying the thief on the cross needed Jesus' clothes to cover him. But a lot of us in here, we wouldn't think of ourselves as bad as that. So I've invited Bev because I think the world might think you're quite good. Could you tell us a little bit about that then? Tell us about yourself and why might the world think you're a very good person, really?
I think the world might think I'm a good person because I'm an upstanding British citizen. My morals are okay. I haven't murdered anybody or robbed a bank. Might have stolen a pen from school once, but or told a few white lies. But overall, I'm all right. Yeah.
So in terms, people often talk about, being in the 50% of good people. And my impression of Bev is that you would fit nicely somewhere up the percentages there. People would think, yeah, good person. So if that's true, then how did you actually become a Christian? And why did you think you needed to become a Christian?
Okay, well, I used to live in a village in Norfolk. And when I grew up, I always believed that God was somewhere, and I believed that Jesus was a historical character. So nobody needed to convince me that Jesus was around. And when I did my A-levels, I changed schools, and there was a girl there who also was new, and we struck up a friendship. And I could tell that there was something different about her. She said that she was a Christian. Now, I would have said at the time that I was a Christian as well. But she said that she had a personal relationship with Jesus, which I couldn't say. And over sort of 6 months or so, we would chat. We were just normal teenage 16-year-old friends. But I would ask her questions about Christianity, about God, and she would answer, or if she didn't know the answer, she would go and tell me. And this went on for about 6 months, and I actually became a Christian whilst I was watching a film on TV. Okay. It was Jesus of Nazareth with Robert Powell as Jesus. I don't know if you know it.
I'm glad it wasn't Terminator or something.
No.
Okay, that's good. Okay. Jesus of Nazareth, right?
It's a bit of an epic, so only watch it if you've got like 8 hours to spare. But I didn't watch all of it. I was right at the end, and Jesus is brought before Pontius Pilate, who was the ruler at the time. And Pontius Pilate is asking the crowd, who do you want me to free? Do you want me to free Jesus, who I had known had done nothing wrong, or Barabbas, who was a murderer? And I can get quite involved in films. I'm quite an emotional type. If there's something to cry, I'll cry at it. And I just thought this was really unfair, that Jesus was, the crowd wanted Barabbas to be freed, which meant that Jesus would die on the cross. And I thought, but what are you doing? You're going to make him, he's going to go to the cross, he's going to die, and it's all your fault. He hasn't done anything wrong. And then I sort of realized what I was saying, that I was saying he's not done anything wrong, and I knew he was the Son of God. And I thought, do you know what? I actually believe it in my heart. I actually believe it. And then, this is going to sound a bit weird. This is where I get a bit weird now.
I like this bit. I remember talking to you about this. It's good.
I sort of said to I didn't know what prayer was, so I just sort of said to the air, I'm really sorry, I do believe. And I felt different on the inside. And do you remember that Ready Brett commercial? I don't know, where the child goes out first thing in the morning, got this glow around them. Well, I felt that glow sort of on the inside, sort of warm and fuzzy. And it took me ages to work out a word to describe how I felt. My friend Lisa, who had sort of befriended me, she said, well, you should read the Bible. So I was reading through the Bible. I'd got one of these New Testament little Bibles from school that I'd put in a cupboard years before. And I dug that out. And one of the things it said was, Jesus cleanses you from your sin. And I thought, you know what? That is exactly the word that describes how I felt that day. I felt cleansed from the inside out. And she also said to me, you should try and get to a church. I didn't drive anywhere because I was only 17 by this point. So I went to a local village church which I walked through the door. I was 17. I was the youngest by about 40 or 50 years. Everybody had grey hair apart from me. And it wasn't very good. I didn't know that at the time because I didn't know what church could be. But they didn't really know what to do with me. And there was this teenager who says she's become a Christian. And like, what do we do with her then? She doesn't fit in anywhere. But this is where I'm going to cry. I'm not going to look at Pip. There was a couple there who were also at that church because they couldn't drive. And they were in their late 70s. They couldn't drive anymore. And they really took me under their wing. And they befriended me. They cared for me. They took me around for tea, and we had plenty of biscuits. And they would just get to know me, and they would tell me about Jesus that they knew from the Bible. They were also had a personal relationship with him. And when I knew I was going to go to London to work, they said, if you go to London, you must go to this church. They will take care of you there. And that's what happened, and that's what I did. And it was at that church in London that I grew. They had so many courses about reading the Bible and about getting to know God better through his word, which was the truth. And I just blossomed, really. And then came here, and Christchurch Network also took care of me here.
That's great. That's really good. So one more thing then, because one of the things we're trying to do is to get people to understand that these set of beliefs have an impact on your daily life. So in terms of Jesus' goodness and your daily life, is there anything you want to say about that? Does it make a difference that Jesus is good in your daily life?
Yes, very much so. I didn't know it at the time when I first became a Christian, but I since then realised that I actually wasn't very good at all, and that pen that I stole from school actually mattered, even though it was way back, and those little white lies, that God wanted me to do better. But I can't do better because I can't ever get to his standard without Jesus. And I know you talked about the wholeness of him being perfect. I realised that I wasn't perfect. That, the whole of me wasn't perfect, and I did need him, so that when he died on the cross, which I knew that he was innocent, he actually died in my place because I was guilty. And so I then realised, and I still realise now, that actually the most important thing is who Jesus is and what he came to do.
That's great.
And trying to live my life like that.
Thank you, Bev. No, that's really, really good. It is that reality that the longer you go on as a Christian, I think the more that you realise that you are sinful and broken in so many ways, and the world around you is broken as well. And Jesus' goodness matters more and more and more because he is the one, the one spot of light, the one bright shining light. Even when we let it, we fail, the people around us fail, the world fails. Jesus has never failed. It's just wonderful. So no, I think it's very helpful. If you want to talk to Bev more, ask her more questions and so on, please do. But another thing you could do is come back the rest of this week as well. So we'll leave it there. Thanks very much. We'll give Bev a round of applause for sharing. Thank you. Over to you, Rob. Thanks a lot.